All right, well, I'll give like a quicker overview so we can spend more time with the bills. So yeah, we were just kind of getting started. So yeah, since you guys have already seen all this, we'll jump through it. So on our tally page, this is where we're posting all of the live bills, and we're adding the 2026 bills on here. So for each of these, that's where you can pull up the vote results for each state and for the country overall. It'll have the summary, the bill description in there, and the links to our other resources we provide, or provide links to. So the open states will show like the status of the bill, the sponsors, co-sponsors, and the votes and history of the bill. And then the Kialo is the one that'll show, or there's also a link to the bill text. And then the Kialo will show the pros and cons. So those, we provide some pros and cons in there for voters to have some extra info, extra details, but then individuals, we encourage them to add in their own pros and cons, or if you want to expand on like why you voted yes or no, that's where voters can do that too. And then we also, you can see here too, you can see the raw totals for each state and for the country overall, and then the percentages over here. And yeah, so that's all on the tally page, and then you can zoom in on a state. And so we had started 2023, I probably mentioned on the other call, in Florida doing state legislation. So just to kind of show like what it looks like at the state level, this is where you can see like the bills. These are coming up for the 2026 session. So same idea, but that's where you can zoom in on a state and then also see the breakdown for districts. And I did want to introduce Dan too. Dan's been joining our calls, and he's extremely helpful with analyzing the bills. So he's running for Congress in Florida's 11th.
Yep.
So yeah, happy to have him on the call too. He definitely does his research.
And the reason I'm running with Digital Democracy Project, kind of powered by them, is I'm actually using direct democracy, which I'll let everyone vote using this system, and then my vote will always go with the majority, whether it's my opinion or not. So that's kind of my little twist on everything.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the ultimate.
You mean like serving the people?
Yeah, I'll be an actual representative.
That's a novel concept.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, ultimately empowering the voters.
Yep.
And then I did want to say too, we aren't yet carrying state legislation like for Nevada, but that's where, like, if you click on one of the bills, that's where you can see the breakdown for Nevada too, for the congressional districts too. So that's kind of the overview of our tally map. And right now our nonprofit, we're definitely focused on scaling up, getting more voters weighing in, because I think kind of like what aligns with Indivisible, I see this as like the ability to get a power in numbers effect and have real influence, real power as voters, to put pressure on our legislators, influence their voting, and then hold them accountable too. And for candidates, legislators like Dan, then that's a way for them to get direct input to inform their voting. So that's kind of the first part of it, the tally part. And then the scorecards we were mentioning, this is where, like, for each of the legislators, actually, let me pull up, like, okay, so we'll be adding, I should say that too, at the federal level, we'll be adding all the members of Congress and U.S. senators. They'll have scorecards where we're going to post those early in 2026. So I need to get an update on where they're at kind of timeline wise, but we'll have those for like all of the members of Congress representing Nevada too. So for each of those, it'll look basically the same as this. So for each of the bills that we posted, because I think we're up to like 90 from the federal level. So the scorecards will be 2025 bills and 2026, since that's how the sessions work. So for each of the bills, we'll relay what the voters wanted in this first column. Okay. If they overall supported. Did you have a question, Kathy?
No. I said, oh, okay. I'll mute myself. Sorry, I forgot it was.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so the first column is what the voters wanted, if the majority supported or opposed. And the middle column is how that legislator had voted on that bill on the floor. So you can see it for each bill. And then the third column is just showing if it matched how the voters if their vote had matched how the voters had voted. So the voters are the ones driving the accountability. It's not our organization that's analyzing the legislators, evaluating them. It's the voters. So however the majority of the voters vote is what determines the outcome of the legislators' scorecards. And then these are meant more so for voters to be able to use to make their decisions at election time, hold their legislators accountable, decide if they want to reelect them or replace them. And then for like candidates like Dan, if he was, when he gets elected, he would be able to go through and kind of like show his voters that he's doing what the voters want, and kind of have that scorecard to also make the case for like his reelection too. Not to get too far ahead, but
Let's get far ahead. I like it. And mine will be all green, so I'm gonna plan on having 100 because
there you go. Yeah, and then he'll be able to use the scorecard too for his opponent that is currently serving. So that'll be another way candidates can use it too. So that's kind of the overview about the scorecard. And yeah, those, I'll get an update on when we'll have those for all members of Congress. And then super quickly, I'll just point out our media page. So that's where, like, our founder did a TEDx talk. That's where you can find more info about us. We'll be adding like our newsletters here. So you can see the bills that we're posting. And then, yeah, there's some content on here from Dan. He's been spreading the word about Digital Democracy Project. We appreciate it. And then
make it a household name. It's gonna be
happening. Thank you. And then, yeah, John's interviews are on here with some candidates. And then we'll jump into the Votes app next too. So Nimit is the CEO, the founder of Votes. So he's got some interviews in here. If you're interested in learning more about like Votes and their technology, that's a place to do so. And yeah, the endorsements that we have, that's where you can see Dan on here. And then we have all of our endorsements right now are in Florida, but this is an option for any federal candidate or the state candidates in the states that will be carrying state legislation. It's an option for them to endorse. It's actually an option for any candidate, but it mostly, like, it makes sense and applies more so for the federal candidates and the candidates running at the state level for the states with state legislation. But yeah, we do have some local candidates on here that have just been supportive of our work and what we're doing, because long term we do want to expand to the local level. And then,
I have a quick question about that for you. If people really want that to be in their state, how do they get that to work? Like, what is the process of trying to like petition a state to be next? For example, Nevada.
I was going to say, so there's no need for like a formal petitioning process. You guys should, reach out to us, which, Nevada, since you guys have been on it, you guys are on our radar. So, typically, like, if there's interest, they can reach out to us like through our website. Our chat bot will go to us, or like my contact info. And then what we need for states, which is what we're currently working on right now in those few states that we're expanding next. And then 2027, we should definitely be in Nevada for 2027. We'd like to be in all 50 states for the 2027 legislature. So yeah, we'll just, like, what Cassie's doing for Washington is super helpful. So the main thing is having someone that will go through and kind of stay up to date on like the bills that are moving through the legislature, and then relay those to our team so we know which bills to put in. So that's Cassie's role in Washington. She's actually putting the bills in to our system herself. And then she's also helping spread the word, talking to other organizations. That's been one of our most successful ways to expand. I would love to get Indivisible on a large scale, get a lot of their users weighing in on the app, because anyone can use it. Any US voter can use it at the federal level. But yeah, at the state level, we're still building up, expanding that way. And I'll keep you guys updated. And then those are the main things, though, for expanding to the state level, is mostly having someone that'll relay the bills to us to put into the app to put in front of voters. And then I'll touch on this too, and then I'll pause if there are other questions. But for the last of the overview about us, so if you're not already, the Votes app, it's VOATZ. That's the technology we use to compile this input from voters and verify that they're registered voters. So all the results you see on the map, that's coming from voters that have been verified through votes, submitting their votes on these bills. And it was just a mobile app, but now they also have a web app version. So that's where you can click on this vote directly in your browser. That'll pull up the votes webpage, and it'll walk you through if you're not verified. We've gotten pretty good feedback about the experience in the web app. So if you haven't been verified, let me just drop this in the chat. This would be a good place to go through and get verified. And then, yeah, if you have any issues, let us know. So, and then, yeah, the mobile app is something that we had started with. So a lot of people do use the mobile app too. And so if you haven't signed up yet, it'll just walk you through how to, you'll put in like your email, phone number, create a password or PIN number, and then it'll send you a code. And then to get verified, it'll have you do a photo ID verification selfie match. So we're using Votes because they're certified real mobile voting technology. So they've been tested out, security is their top priority. So that's why we're using them for the verification process and to compile votes. And we get asked about it a lot. So the reason we require the verification process is so that we know we don't have like bots that are skewing the scores. We don't have people voting 10 times. It also protects from like bad actors. If like some billionaire developer or something, we're trying to make it like misrepresent what the voters want. So that's why we have the verification process. So it carries real weight. It's more credible. So legislators can't discount it. So yeah, it carries more weight for voters, and then legislators know they can trust that it's real input from actual voters, and they can pinpoint it down to their district. So yeah, it is a one-time process. Go ahead.
Sorry, one more thing about it. Because actually it's used by the government now to allow military members to vote overseas. So it's already like government certified as well, which is kind of cool.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so they've been used plenty of times in many elections. So yeah, if you haven't already, we definitely want you to get verified in there. And then it's a one-time process. It only takes like a minute or two. And then once you get verified, you'll be able to vote on all the bills, all the previous bills that are live. So I think last I'd heard we'll be leaving up the 2025 bills since it's a 2025-2026 session. So there'll be about like 100 or so bills in there that you'll be able to vote on. And then, yeah, if you're, I think everyone on here is in Nevada. So once we carry state legislation, you'll see those kind of automatically too. So yeah, if you haven't already been verified, just let me know if you have any issues or questions. I can help walk through. But I think that's all I wanted to share for the overview. So I'll pause if anyone has any questions or anything else they'd like to add. And yeah, sorry, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm gradually losing my voice as we go.
I think something's going around because so many people I know are sick. It's kind of crazy right now.
Yeah, I cannot get rid of it either. It's been, feels like over a week or so now, but we're getting there. All right, and I did want to point out too, there is a chat option too. So if you, I had dropped the link to the web app in there, the Votes web app, but if you didn't want to come off mute or anything, you can drop in there too. All right, and then yeah, if anything comes up, let me know. So I think we'll go ahead, let me jump back over to the Bills View page. So, and then the Bills View page, I hadn't really gone over yet. That's where you can search for particular bills and you can narrow results. The score over here is kind of where you can see like if the bill got voted on, it gets a score showing how often, how closely the legislators' votes matched what the voters wanted. So I'll point that out on some of these. So that's where that comes from. And then the categories, if there's like a certain issue, topic you're interested in, you can narrow down by those. And then the categories that definitely get used a lot, the US is for the federal bills, and then I'll select the 2025 and 2026. So I think where we kind of had left off, I was going to briefly, and yeah, just for like time's sake wise, I'll tell you what I have in mind to get through, and then whatever we get through should be fine, but I'll try to at least touch on each of these. So it's like 10 or so bills here. So the I was going to start with the no anonymity in Immigration Enforcement Act, since I know we had that incident that happened in Minnesota. So I just thought that bill would be interesting to talk about, to touch on how that could have, I think, been helpful if that had already been passed. And then we did have some progress on getting healthcare, the tax subsidies through. And then, yeah, we've had a lot of hostilities with Venezuela. That was one of the bills we carried. So yeah, I think we'll start with this one and then we'll see how quickly we go in. And if you guys haven't joined either, I try to give like a brief overview, and then we really want to provide these events as an opportunity for voters, for attendees to kind of share their thoughts and discuss. So yeah, for this bill, this one, I've seen different versions of this at the state level too. So this would require ICE agents to not wear facial coverings during enforcement operations, ensuring clear identification with garments, displaying their name and agency. Exceptions allow for protective gear and major threats or for safety. Procedures are in place for compliance, review, and penalties for violations. And reports on discipline, actions, and complaints are annually submitted to Congress. So I did want to quickly mention some other features that you'll see on this Bills View page. And so we did add some, we call them impact statements, that'll kind of give some more information about like what a yes vote means, what a no vote means. And then I really like being able to see the different organizations that have taken a stance in support or opposition, which our founder has a background in AI. So we're using that to kind of scrape the web to get results. So that's why, yeah, it looks like tons of attorney general's offices support this bill. And then we can also, yeah. And we can also add organizations manually. So like if Indivisible, for example, wanted to take a stance on a bill, we can submit that to show up too. And then I'll click on one of these, maybe one that looks like an organization. It'll just to show you, it'll like pull up an overview about them. And then you can get more like background on the organization, and you can also go to their website to get more info too. And then the last feature I want to mention is VoteBot. This is where you can ask different questions about the bills, and it'll give you different responses. So if like, especially to help you understand the bill better, to help you decide how you want to vote. So yeah, there's some questions in here I've asked, but we'll test it out. If someone has a question throughout here, we'll see what kind of responses it gets.
I'll actually jump in with the VoteBot as well, because the VoteBot is kind of great because it actually uses the text from the bill itself, and then it actually is two different AIs that kind of work together. So one answers it and the other one kind of checks the answer to make sure that it is correct before giving it to you. So it's really great. And I think Ramon made it because he has a background in AI, which is
yeah. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I do not have a background in AI, but it is very helpful. I've been pretty impressed with the responses it'll give. And then most of the time it'll give you like a little citation. So if you want to look more into like where that came from, that's helpful too.
The other thing you can do with VoteBot is give it a specific instance, like this is who I am, does this bill affect me? Like you can put in like low or high income, and you can be very specific and ask it personal questions. So that's kind of neat.
Interesting. Yeah, I know. I like to usually ask like, why was this bill sponsored? Besides, yeah, you can ask about different terms is something I do a lot. And then I did want to point out too, when you're voting in the app, you can access all of these features, or the web app, you can jump from tabs. But the mobile voting app, if you're in there, it has the info bubbles next to all the options. The third one is what'll pull up this entire page to where you can see all the organization stances and access VoteBot. So just want people to know that you're able to use it while voting too. Or I like to go through, look at the bills on the website, and then also go in and submit my votes that way too. But I do, and then this link here will take you back to that Votes web app. So you can go in and vote, submit your vote that way too, like from your computer. And it does include like a search feature. So if there's a certain bill you're looking for, you can quickly find it that way. But I think that's all I wanted to share overall. So yeah, we're about halfway through. So we got rest of the time to talk about those bills. So I'll pause here if anyone has questions or any thoughts they want to share.
There is one kind of interesting thing about this bill, because for those of you that haven't met me yet, I love loopholes and kind of the weirder riders that are attached to these bills. So that's usually what I talk about, because that's always the hidden weird part. I know I always say weird too much. My mom always yells at me about it. But it's fun. But the cool thing about this bill is that it actually, when something happens with ICE, they have it written in there where the actual people have to go through Department of Homeland Security Civil Rights Office instead of through internal ICE. So it's kind of a nice kind of sidestep from their normal authority. So then they have to report to somebody else. So that's kind of one of the good riders on this bill.
I'm skeptical that's going to do much, considering the DOJ just decided to not even investigate the shooting in Minnesota. And they're also blocking the state from investigating it. So
there's a whole bunch of things that are wrong with ICE, but at least that one piece is better than nothing. So at least it's going in the right direction for laws, but I know it's still sitting in the House. So
we just today, the committee in Washington State, this is a bill, Senate Bill 5855, which is also in Digital Democracy Project. Now, we had the committee and public testimony on law enforcement officers wearing masks or not. So I know there's been a couple of these across some other states, so seeing it federally, then tagging in where states are bringing this up. I think to get to that specific issue where we're seeing, John, as you mentioned, ICE itself, Homeland Security, is not responding in a constitutional way, how can states support themselves? And I haven't followed up, Dan, you might know what's happening with the California legislation when they passed this law, and then someone mentioned today in opposition that they were being sued by the federal government, but I have not looked that up to see where we're at. But I think this is going to be a massive issue at the very beginning, especially because of what we're seeing now in Minnesota. So that's encouraging on the democracy front.
Yeah, so the California did pass that, and they did sue them. So now they can't actually do anything with it yet until it gets out of court. So that's always their kind of shtick right now, is they fight it in court so nobody can enforce it. So until that gets resolved, which takes forever, they can still do what they want, unfortunately. Yeah.
And I forgot to pull up the results for that one. So let me get back to where I was. But the results,
sorry, Sadie.
No, you're fine. I wanted it was a good chance to show, some Washington legislation. But that's where the map will show up down below the organization stances. So this one was, if I can get VoteBot out of the way.
It's 130 yeses versus 9 no's.
Yeah. So 94% support. And then down here's where you'll be able to see the House Senate votes when the bills if they advance. That's where you can see those. Yeah,
it's currently stuck in the Judicial Committee in the House.
Oh yeah, I meant to pull that up too. Yeah, so the open states, that's linked on there too. So that's where you can see the status of it and the sponsors and co-sponsors. All right, and I think we'll move on to the next one. So I think we'll just go in order here. There were 2 healthcare related bills before this recent one that I heard advanced. So this one was Lower Healthcare Cost Act. Seeks to make healthcare more affordable by extending the premium tax credits until 2028. Will help more people pay for health insurance. Means that even those with incomes above 400% of the poverty line can benefit. And more citizens will have access to affordable healthcare. So that was one that I think this was the one that was more like a Democratic. Chuck Schumer was the sponsor on that one.
So there are 2 matching ones. This one is the Democratic one and the Republican one as well. But they're both. They don't do the same thing though, by the way. So they are completely different, but they both kind of tackle healthcare.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Well, this one is actually pretty good because it's clean, which means it has no hidden riders and there's nothing unusual about the bill itself. And it's just a strict 3-year extension to 2028 for the ACAs. So nothing else to really say about it. The only problem is it's stalled in the House again.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, stalled in the Senate, I think.
Yeah, I'm curious the comparison with the Republican one I thought was interesting because you can also see okay, I'm loading over here. You can also see like the difference in the vote results because I want to try to remember this. Yeah, this one was 91%. And then compared to this one, yeah, Healthcare Freedom for Patients Act of 2025. That one was, oh, there we go. Yeah, 70%. Oh, that was more opposed. I didn't even notice that. Okay.
Yeah. That's because what it does is very weird for helping with the healthcare stuff, like just in general.
Yeah, so some of the overview I'll let you add on if you'd like. Aims to lower healthcare costs and increase choices for Americans. Allows eligible individuals to receive contributions to their, I know, like HSA, health savings accounts.
Yeah.
Supporting low premium health insurance plans, restricts federal funding for Medicaid and CHIP to those who can verify their citizenship or immigration status, preventing wasteful spending, encourages states to offer affordable coverage options, and ensures financial responsibility. So yeah, another one of those bills that's tying in the whole citizenship thing too.
Yeah. So the main problem with the Republican version of this, which is the Healthcare Freedom Act, is that it's not going to work with the ACAs. So we're not going to have lower premiums, which is monthly, right? This one is going to try to give people money for their health savings account, and then they are responsible for paying their own. So basically the government's going to give you money one time a year. And I think it was something like $1,000 to $2,000. I have to look that number up, but it's something extremely low where it's going to not make it the full year. And the other kind of the other stuff this bill does that's a little bit strange is that it actually makes the catastrophe plan, which is usually for those people that are 30 or under extreme financial hardships, it opens up to anyone. So they're not helping healthcare, they're trying to give more access to worse healthcare, which I just don't understand what that's actually doing. The other thing is it's actually going to restrict Medicaid coverage to so no illegal immigrants can get that as well, or undocumented immigrants is probably a better way to say that. And this one has a ton of riders. The first one is that it defines what a male and female is, which is just gross, and it shouldn't be in this kind of bill. And then the other thing is it bans gender transition coverage. And I think it does one more thing, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was something even weirder with the IRS and their benefit money. But yeah, a whole bunch of stuff that it just doesn't make sense. If they make it a clean bill, it's much easier to vote on. But by adding these riders, then people can't vote yes on it, even if they wanted to, because of like the riders that will be most of their constituents be against kind of stuff.
I have to know, how do they define male and female?
Okay, it kind of sucks because let me find it. I took notes. They identify a female as an individual with a reproductive system capable of producing eggs. Ugh.
So if a woman is born without a uterus, she's a man?
Yep. So the other thing that's kind of strange is a bill coming up. It's the Protect Children's Innocence bill by Marjorie Taylor Greene. That makes that one even worse because it identifies and talks about intersex children when they're born. Yeah, so there's a lot of bills that are coming up.
Oh my God.
Let's jump to that one next. I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts. Definitely feel free to chime in.
Let's see if I have notes on that.
Yeah, this one I was very surprised. There were tons of orgs that took stances. So this one, I'll quickly read this. Makes it a federal crime to perform surgeries, give puberty blockers, or give cross-sex hormones to change a minor's sex. Punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Also criminalizes helping or transporting a child for female genital cutting. Religion or custom is not a defense. Minors are not prosecuted. Only narrow medical exceptions apply. Mental health alone doesn't count. Would sharply reduce gender-related care for youth and put doctors and some parents at legal risk. So yeah, this one had tons of organizations that oppose.
Also,
are you looking at that bill right now on the screen?
Yeah, I was going to say your screen is stuck.
Yeah, it looks like I'm presenting this on my end. So let's just stop sharing and reshare.
Yeah. And while she's doing that, I'll kind of tell you a little more about it, because the penalty for this, if a doctor or a parent, and a parent, by the way, is found contributing to this, they can get up to 10 years in prison for helping with this kind of stuff. Right? And this has already passed the House, which is ridiculous. It's stalled in the Senate, and hopefully it dies there, but ugh.
How did it pass? Okay, help me understand. Yeah. Constitutionally, religious freedom not being an excuse for doing something that you'd like to do. How did it pass in our dear Republicans' House on freedom from religion on the First Amendment? What do we?
It passed 216 to 211, so no idea. And this is the bill that talks about the intersex one as well, because that's kind of the I don't know what you call it, the catch-22 for this, because if someone is born with both sexes, then they're allowed to do it, where they don't have a say and they are forced to be more normal. But those people that actually have an opinion on this and want to do it aren't allowed to do it. So the people that don't have an opinion can do it. The people that do have an opinion and want to do it can't do it.
I have another question.
Yeah.
How will they know? How are they going to know with HIPAA? If we're following HIPAA standards and someone goes to the doctor and the doctor does something around these things, how are they going to know that this is against Children's Innocence Act? How is enforcement happening here?
I'm assuming that has to be documented somewhere. And
I think
they're going to get
John, do you know?
The Supreme Court gave against illegalizing abortion when Roe v. Wade was passed was that there's not really a mechanism for the government to even be aware that this should be happening, especially with medical privacy.
Yeah, that is a good question. That seems like a tough one for VoteBot if I was specific enough, so we'll see what kind of...
So it's funny, I think really the answer to that question is it's going to be selectively enforced, right? And it feels like a lot of laws being proposed right now kind of they have that kind of built-in assumption that everything is just selectively enforced now.
Mm-hmm.
So just rat on your neighbor or rat out a doctor, or your friend at school told their friend who then told their parent, and their parent rats on the neighbor's parent. That's...
Yep. And
that's
then
it.
Didn't Texas offer like a $10,000 reward if people told the government that they were going to another state to get an abortion and things like this. So yeah, there's gonna be this whole aspect of just reporting other people to try and get money.
The only case that I've heard about this is where one parent was supportive of the child and the other one wasn't, and so the other parent called on the first parent to stop them from doing it. And the other thing that this bill does...
That's real parental love right there. That's a real...
Yep. And the other thing this bill does is redefine what chemical castration means, because they're defining puberty blockers, which are reversible in most cases, as chemical castration, which is just inflammatory language for it.
So as I understand it, and I'm not defending them because I think it's stupid, but as I understand it, I think that the drugs that we use as puberty blockers, if you give them in higher and higher doses, they are actually chemical castration. So was it Alan Turing that the government forcibly sterilized or something like that? Yeah. I think that he's getting the same drugs. They just gave him in a much, much higher dose.
Yep.
So I think
if you haven't seen that,
they're able to conflate it, and that's the grain of truth that exists in the lie, so to speak.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched The Imitation Game, that's all about Alan Turing's life. It's a wonderful movie.
Yep. Imitation Game?
The Imitation Game?
Familiar.
It's about the first computer that was used to kind of hack and try to figure out war plans, and it's just a really good movie. It has Benedict Cumberbatch. Say that one more time. Sorry, John.
Oh, Alan Turing was a national hero.
Yeah, I would agree. And then that's actually the Apple logo is based on him as well. Because didn't he kill the poisoned apple? I think that's what it was.
Oh, I guess I didn't put the two together that's who that guy was.
Yeah. John, are you looking up the poisoned apple thing? Because I think that's true, but I'm I think it is. Because I know that apple was a nod to... Say that again?
is cyanide poisoning.
Yeah.
Yep, and he was found with a half-eaten apple next to him, leading to the theory he injected cyanide into it.
Yep. Which is what the Apple logo is on every single Mac.
Well, Vobot, yeah, from my vague question, it looks like as far as like the enforcement part requires healthcare providers to become aware that prohibited procedures are being performed to report this information to law enforcement. Failure to do so could also result in penalties. So yeah, targeting the healthcare provider and Attorney General.
Weaponizing insurance is basically what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That reporting would go through there. So
Yep.
Already too expensive. Already you can't afford it. Even if you get $1,000 for the year for your $400 to $800 a month payment. But okay.
Yeah. I don't know who's left of their health care
so
yet,
sorry.
but $1,000 doesn't pay like a 1 month, maybe. It's like,
What? Yeah. You have to be
we'll cover your
super
first
healthy
month.
by yourself without a family for maybe $1,000 to pay for maybe 1 or 2 months of your health insurance. If you,
not even counting copays. So that's fun.
I can't today. I've heard some stuff today that I'm just like, I'm gonna write.
John and I
Be
were
writing.
talking, like the last week has been infuriating for most people. And so I think we're all at that point. We're just like,
I'm at the
frustrated with everything.
Yeah, stay after the call for our little struggle session if you want.
Yeah.
When it's not recorded. Yay.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
I
sanity
know
check. It's favorite part of the month. Sanity check.
Agreed.
So-
our team. Oh, go ahead if you had
No,
something.
I was gonna help us try to get back to the bill, but go ahead, Sadie.
I was just gonna say our team's updating the website, so I was curious to see what the results on this one were.
Love to know.
Which,
that.
by the way,
I'm not
while you're looking
seeing
at that,
any.
I wanted to mention, I think the reason you're seeing that funniness on the map is because Jeremy had mentioned earlier in the Slack that he was going to try and change something with the pop-ups on the maps.
Yeah, I know they're working on it. So I'm pulling it up in the app. This one that's another thing too. In the Boats app, it'll provide the overall results. So this one was 84% oppose. All right. So does anyone else have any other thoughts on that one? Because I think we'll jump into the healthcare one that did pass. And yeah, I'm curious to hear Dan's thoughts on that one too. So this one, was super complicated. It sounds like the Breaking the Gridlock Act.
Yeah.
So this was the bill that would allow for the ACA extended tax credits to be continued, lowering health insurance rates, creates a 2026. It does all kinds of random stuff.
It's so weird.
Yeah, this is
Literally-
what legislation has come to be, where it's a bunch of stuff packed into one bill.
And the thing about this one is they made it a Frankenstein bill because they're using it. Oh my gosh, I forgot the word for it. The distribution bill. No, what do they call it when the House and they kind of vote on it? Oh my God, I can't think of the name of it.
Continuing resolution?
No, it's the one where you have to vote first and force it.
The discharge
petition. Thank you. That was going to drive me insane. So they used a discharge petition in order to get it to the floor. So what they did is, because they're having such a hard time with Mike Johnson bringing any of the Democratic bills, they switched them all together with the one for the ACAs. So then people had to vote for it all at once. So this is actually like 4 or 5 different bills all smashed together. So yeah,
that makes sense from the description, because it seemed like a bunch of random stuff. Because I was asking VoteBot, I didn't even know what the time capsule thing was, and then the
time capsule is so strange. It's just why even bother with this? Like, they want a congressional time capsule of everything in 2026 that's going to be important to us, and I'm like, ugh. I think
I saw that it's opened in 250 years or something.
Yeah. It's the 250th anniversary of America, and so they want to do something special for it. So then they think time capsule.
Yeah,
Right.
We should just get healthcare. We can just get healthcare for it.
That's a great way to
250
celebrate.
Years later, I mean,
I like that.
Do you think smashing a bunch of unrelated bills together makes it more likely to pass or less likely to pass?
I hate it. Yeah,
I hate it
vote
too.
Kathy.
But there's certainly a procedural element here that I wonder what the actual effect is versus what we believe the effect is.
It's passed. It passed the House, so it shouldn't have, because there's so many random things, but the ACA is such a big driving feature of it that everybody just passed it, and then they didn't even pay attention to the other stuff, which I'm sure is what's happening. Because like the other stuff is like Nigerian terrorists. That's mentioned in the bill. Like, you're like, what does Nigerian terrorists have to do with anything about it? And then the other part is like TSA commuting, isn't it? Like, should TSA officers get paid to commute to and from the airport and consider that on-time duty? Right? Like, what does this have to do with anything? And it just doesn't.
They all need to be separate. They need to be separate issues.
Yep. It has a data broker ban.
If you separate each issue, I think that it might make it so that each issue doesn't pass. But like if you smash all these things together, that it's possible that the people who desperately want their one thing to pass, their pet project or the bill that's the most important, they'll accept all the quote unquote medicine and pass the other things that the other people want.
This is the whole idea of riders in Congress. That what John just said is absolutely correct, right? You take one giant must-pass bill and then you attach as many weird things as you can to it, and then they just kind of get dragged along with it. That's why they're called riders, because they're not like a main thing. They're just in the passenger seat, just, hey, I'm here too. Like, one of the other things it does that's great is a data broker ban, where we actually can protect our own data from selling it to overseas, foreign people. One of the weirder things in it, and I know I said weird again, but it's the American flag rule, where any American flag that's going to be purchased by the federal government has to be created and made in America. And I'm like, okay, I think that's great, but what? Why is it in here? It's that.
Yeah.
I like the data protection thing. That sounds like a good thing.
Right. All of it says it sounds good, but why? I just, I hate writers so much. It drives me.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that's why we didn't have any orgs pop up on that one, because there's so many aspects of it. It's hard to say if you support or
nobody can like
oppose.
everything. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And that one was 84% support, so that one was more popular.
Because
Wait,
it extends the ACAs.
84%?
Yeah. What'd you say, John?
The people supported it by 84%?
Yeah. So I'll be
Wow.
curious if it makes it into the Senate, if it comes up for a vote, if it passes.
Yeah, well, it's already moved to the Senate because it did pass the House. And the reason so many people like it is it does extend the ACAs. So it's the same thing as we talked about with the lower healthcare costs.
Yeah.
Same thing.
They'll hold their nose and vote for it. Vote
Yeah.
for the bad stuff to get the good stuff. Yeah.
The main difference is this one started in the House and the other one started in the Senate. That's really the only two difference between the major part of the bill. But the one that started in the Senate is absolutely clean and doesn't cover anything else.
And we're getting close to 8, so I'm gonna kind of like quickly mention a couple, and then I think like the Venezuela one's probably worth spending some time on. I know, yeah, we had briefly on the last one talked about there was a joint resolution terminating the national emergency declared to impose tariffs, and then there was one specifically for Canada, and I can't even remember. I think this one, passed the Senate, the one for Canada, but I don't think the other one had.
They're all stuck in the House, all
this
of them.
one.
All the joint resolutions are kind of mixed together, and all it is these are the cleanest, by the way. If you ever wonder what a joint resolution is, it's great. It's usually like one line, and that's it. Because usually what it is, it's trying to undo the presidential executive orders. So, like, for example, the first one was the tariffs, right? The reason that President Trump, can actually do tariffs is that he declared an emergency situation.
Yep.
And so what the joint resolution does is it declares that emergency over. And that's for all three of the joint resolutions. That's exactly what it does for every single one of them.
Okay. Yeah, because we had a bunch of them. Yeah, the overall general tariffs, the Canada one, and then we had an overall one, it sounds like, about the removal of the United States Armed Forces from unauthorized hostilities. Because I guess, that one was more so just Congress is supposed to be the one to approve, like foreign, I'm not sure what the best term is, involvement.
All of that. That hostilities one is probably the most interesting one because they don't know quite how to do it, because what the current administration did is they said that we're not attacking Venezuela, we're doing a police action and arresting somebody. And so that's why he didn't have to declare war on them, which is why he didn't have to ask Congress. But by doing this, we have bombed another country. We have stolen their head, like the whole country. How that's not an act of war, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think at least 50 people died in the bombing. And also, I read an article that we used sonic weapons, and that there was a whole bunch of people from Venezuela, the armed forces there, were saying that like they felt like their head was like they were bleeding and vomiting blood, and they felt they collapsed immediately, and they felt like their heads were like there's extreme pain inside of their heads, and they couldn't get up after it. So that sounds like a little bit more than a police action.
Yeah, the ultrasonic weapons are unusual as well because they affect your inner ear. They actually use them for some kind of usually riots as well, to kind of disperse people, because it makes people dizzy and nauseous, and then it affects your equilibrium. They're weird weapons.
That one, yeah, in the app, the Venezuela one was 100% support. That's like the first I've seen everyone.
Yeah, I think the like poll that I saw, like the national poll, had 8% people voting that we should be doing what we're doing in Venezuela, and everybody else is a no.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because his was like America first, no. So yeah,
Yep.
I'm not surprised.
The peacetime president.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, we got a couple minutes left.
We actually have a question from Kathy as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, I'm like I'm on it on my desktop, right? And I'm not seeing any of the stuff that you're seeing. The only option that I have is like to do a survey, and then it just has the yes, no, whatever. I'm not seeing the results or like any of the things that the cool,
Can
Yeah,
you share
so
your screen?
charts and
I
stuff.
was actually having trouble with this before because they're not on the tally page. Sadie, you remember?
Where
because
is the
when they're
tally
not-
page?
Oh, I'm on the
That
bills
upper left corner, the
page.
3 lines menu. You might be able to drop that down.
Yeah, I already looked there. It's not there. I've got
What's
dashboard,
the web address?
FAQ, and contact support.
What does the web address read at the top?
App, webvotes.com, EM
Okay.
dashboard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in votes. You need to go to digitaldemocracyproject.org.
Oh.
And just open up another tab and go to digitaldemocracyproject.org.
I just dropped the link in the chat.
How funny. I was literally doing that, and I'll just delete mine.
Yeah, that's a good question, though. I should make a point to kind of emphasize that. The votes, they're... You got it, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, votes is like their technology is what we're using to compile the votes, and then everything gets relayed to the website, so that way anyone, whether you're able to vote or not, anyone's able to go on here and see it. So that's kind of why it's set up as 2 different things. So yeah, that should have all the bills on there.
Yeah, I don't remember setting my password. I'm going to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, I'll follow up too if you have any issues.
Yeah,
there.
I don't remember setting this up, so I don't know what the password is. And it doesn't look like LastPass saved it.
Yeah, I think we usually, if we're like on an event, we'll recommend like if you already have, I know iPhone it's 8 digits or Android it's 12. So if you already have like a 4-digit PIN number you use, you can duplicate that. Or I tell people sometimes like a birth date or something, you can
Yeah.
duplicate digits. So maybe one of those will work. I think the only other thing I wanted to mention, the 2 of the bills that we posted were they kind of look kind of random. This, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Mikosuki. Those.
Mikosuki.
Okay, thank you. And
I
then, yeah,
literally looked it up because I didn't know how to say it either.
you did your homework better than I did. And then the Arkansas Valley Conduit Act. I know those 2 were 2 that had passed and Trump vetoed them.
Yep.
And
the reasons the veto, that's the interesting part about those bills.
Okay, that's what I had forgotten. If you want to enlighten us for our last bills.
Let's talk about the Arkansas Valley one. We'll start there. Okay, so this one was to finish a pipeline in Colorado, and it was proposed by Lauren Boebert, and President Trump vetoed it, which is unusual because it's Republican for Republican, but it's because that she sided with the Democrats against him in the Epstein files, And so everyone is considering that this is a payback for that. So he is like, and the weird thing about what it does is it just provides a way for them to kind of pay for the pipeline, because this was actually written off in 1962. They've been trying to work on it since 1962. And all it does is bring clean water to the people in Colorado. And then we don't even pay for it, because Trump's official reason for veto is physical responsibility. But all they did was change the loan from 50 years to 75 years. Some things say 100, but I think it's at 75, to make it easier for them to pay off the loan. That's the only thing it did, and provide fresh, clean water to Americans. That's it. Now,
Rural
the other
Americans.
one. Sorry, say that again?
I think it was rural Americans too, right? It was
yeah.
people underserved, low population density communities, right?
Yep, it's the rural communities of East Pueblo. Yeah, because I think there's oh gosh, there was something in the water that they had to filter out. I remember reading it, but I can't see in my notes. Contaminated with naturally occurring radioactive elements and salt. So they have salt water and radioactive elements in their water. And we're not going to give them enough money to pay for it. Since 1962. 62. All right. The other one is the Mikazuki.
And I'm gonna pause real quick. Sure. So we're at the 8 o'clock here. So yeah, if anyone needs to jump off, I just wanted to thank you guys for coming. And yeah, Kathy, I can hang on too if you have any issues. I can help you out. I think I'll let Dan cover this last one, and then if you want us to like walk you through or help you out getting into your app, then let us know. And then we'll have another one next month. I think I went with the 18th. It should be on the same event, but or the same Mobilize link. And then I'll try to figure out a better way to make it more clear about joining. Yeah, if I could have the same link, that would be helpful. So I'll look into that. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, let me know, and I'll send a follow-up email too, so we can communicate through there. You can reach us there. But if not, if you guys wanted to hop off, thank you guys for joining. If not, you guys can hang on for the continued discussion.
I promise I'll be quick. But if you do have to leave, thanks for coming. So yeah, the last one on there is the tribe one, and that's really important for Florida, because it is a tribe here in the Everglades in Florida. And what they were trying to get is federal money to help with flooding for cities. And the reason that was actually denied was alligator Alcatraz, because once they did it and they built the alligator Alcatraz detention camp here, they didn't do it and check with like the environmental laws. So the tribe sued them for it. And then President Trump vetoed helping them get flood insurance because they fought against the alligator Alcatraz. So both the vetoes that we had talked about are direct retaliation ones, and it's not even hidden. Like, he just kind of flat out says it. So that's that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's where we're at nowadays.
Indeed.
All right. Yep. Yeah, thank you, Dan, for all your expertise and informing us in detail on the bills. I would really like to get to a point where every legislator, every candidate is doing this with their constituents, their voters. I feel like that's where government should be. Yeah, right.
I wouldn't even have to run at that point. I would just be happy.
Yeah, so I appreciate Dan being the one to kind of demonstrate where things could be. And I think I'll pause there. Does anyone have any questions, anything else before we kind of go into like a post discussion?